Hey friends, welcome back. Today's episode is a little more on the personal side, not in a weird way, but more like I'm walking you through my own personal clean beauty journey. And not from a place of you're doing everything wrong, but more of a place from, hey, I've learned this, and I've learned it sometimes the hard way, so that you don't have to do that. So let's get into the 5 ingredients that I stopped using, why I stopped using them, and exactly what I swapped them for. So honestly, this whole thing started with the same body listening journey that led me to this entire show. And once I started paying attention to my gut and my hormones, I realized that I couldn't keep ignoring what I was putting on my body either, because it's just as important as what you're putting in, because your skin absorbs a significant amount of what touches it. And some of those ingredients genuinely are hormone disrupting. Not good, right? And so let's start with the 5 ingredients. So the first ingredient, number one, is fragrance. And it's listed usually simply as fragrance or parfum. And it's a catch-all term that can legally hide dozens of chemicals, undisclosed chemicals, some of which are linked to hormone disruption. And when I'm looking for a replacement for that, the one thing that I look for is one or two things that I look for is either the product lists essential oils specifically like lavender, orange, lemon, something like that, so that I actually know what's creating the scent, or it's labeled fragrance free entirely, which, by the way, is different from unscented. Unscented can still mean masking chemicals that were added to cancel out a smell. So fragrance free means nothing was added for scent at all. And one label trick worth knowing is that, some products say phthalate free fragrance, which sounds reassuring, but that only means that one specific chemical was removed, and that's the fragrance blend itself, but it can still be undisclosed. So, specific ingredients or true fragrance free is really what I actually trust, and really the only thing that I trust. And then number two is parabens. And parabens are preservatives that mimic estrogen in the body. And products still, I mean, they have to have some sort of preservation so that they don't grow mold and bacteria. So instead of parabens, I look for a cleaner preservative, um, and things like phenoxyethanol in smaller amounts, or formulas preserved with something like, let's say, radish root ferment or similar natural derived options. So you really want to look at, if you see the word naturally derived, that's a good sign. Um, and it's a good sign is also, a slightly shorter shelf life on the product, and something that maybe requires refrigeration after opening. Now, not a lot of your beauty products are going to require refrigeration after opening. That often means that they didn't lean too heavily on synthetic preservatives to make it, and to make it so that it lasts a really long time on the shelf. And then number three is phthalates. And these are oftentimes, like we were talking about before, hidden in fragrance free. And they're linked to hormone disruption, and especially very, very common in like nail polish or hair products. And so for nail polish specifically, you want to look for polishes labeled 3 free, 5 free, or even 10 free. And that number refers to how many common toxic ingredients, including phthalates, formaldehyde, and toluene, that have been removed from their particular formula. So the higher the number, generally the cleaner the product and the polish is. And then number four is chemical sunscreen filters like oxybenzoin. I moved to mineral sunscreens, and I did this actually a long time ago, but they have improved so much dramatically over the last several years. So you want to look for zinc oxide or titanium dioxide as the active ingredient. Ideally non-nano, meaning that the mineral particles are large enough that they don't just, so that they sit on top of the skin rather than being so small that they potentially absorb into it. And then a quick heads up, if you see reef safe, that sounds really official, but it's not actually a regulated or verified term just yet. So I still check the active ingredients, and rather than just trusting what's on the label itself. And then the fifth is SLS or sodium lauryl sulfate. And that's usually found in shampoo and body wash. And it's used to make it sudsy, right? So the more foamy and sudsy it is, that's likely what's causing it. And this one isn't a hormone disrupting preservative or additive, but it's more ingredient, I should say. It's much more, it's just harsh on the skin, it's stripping, and it disrupts the skin's natural barrier. And so I switched to sulfate-free formulas that use, gentler cleansing agents, things like coconut-derived products. And my skin really genuinely stopped feeling really, dry and tight after showers and things like that. So I get asked a lot which specific brands that I use. And I want to be upfront. I'm not going to run through an entire list here because it's constantly changing over time. I try new things all the time. And honestly, everyone's skin is and preferences are a little bit different anyway. But I do have a handful of clean beauty and clean makeup brands that I've personally vetted, that I personally trust, and I use daily, including one brand that was built by founders who refused to compromise on ingredient safety, even when the industry pushed back, and it made, switching feel easy because I genuinely didn't feel like I was sacrificing the performance for cleaner ingredients. So I've put together my actual go-to product and brand list in the show notes. So you can skip the hours of ingredient research that I did and the trial and error of trying things. Although you still might have to do that because, like I said, everybody's skin is a little bit different and everybody's preference is a little bit different. So, but I did the research and just start with what I already trust if that's easier for you. So I want to be real with you too, is that I didn't throw everything away and start from scratch all at once because that's really overwhelming. And, let's face it, it's very expensive. And I'm not all about wasting money. So I did it the use it up and then replace it method. So that way, when a product ran out, I researched, found a cleaner replacement, and instead of automatically rebuying the same thing, I just went and chose that one. And then I also leaned in a lot on EWG, the Environmental Working Group, to check for ingredients before even purchasing. So rather than trying to memorize all the ingredients and all the ingredient lists myself, they have a skin deep database and a healthy living app that rates products and ingredients. And honestly, it's become my kind of go-to resource for more than just beauty. So I use it for food, for household products, and that took a whole lot of the mental load off. And I want to say, clean beauty doesn't have to mean expensive beauty at all. And same thing for clean products too. But some of my favorite swaps were actually cheaper than what I was using before. So I want you to know that this is like anything that I talk about, whether it's diet or anything. It is never about perfection or fear, but it's more about informed choices, You don't have to overhaul your entire routine overnight. Just start noticing, start asking questions, and swap things out as it makes sense for you and your routine and your budget. And if you want a second set of eyes on your routine, whether it's your food, your beauty, your home, all of it, that's exactly what I help clients work through in coaching. So you can go ahead and book a discovery call. The show notes is in the link below, or you can always go to my website, wendyhandy.com, and book there. And then in the coming episodes, I want to dive into your home. And so specifically the toxins that could be hiding under your sink. And then I'll give you a DIY cleaner recipe, plus some other recommendations that you can make in just 5 minutes. So look forward to seeing you then. Bye for now.